Hey, what's up, guys? Somebody in the chat tell me if they can hear me. I want to make sure this microphone is working because it looks like it may have taken some abuse while it was in my backpack last time. So if you can hear me and it sounds good, let me know, and I will go over a couple things and we'll get this joker started. So I think I'm going to take that as you cannot hear me yet. Okay. Mr. Bobby Yakuza says it sounds good, and I will take your word for it. Thank you so much, sir. JJ says, am I canceling I'm not canceling an Amex Platinum. No way. I'll probably have that one for a very long time. Points played, travel, loud and clear. Lima Charlie, Andy's Credit Corner. Thank you, guys. Now, listen, we've already got a couple people in here, so I want to go ahead and get this started, and I'll explain to you why. First off, I'm going to answer as many of the questions I can from the community post from a couple weeks ago. There's 61 questions, but I'm going to try to get through as many of them as I can. If you have questions in the chat, I will 100% get to those if I can, and most likely I will. But I want to let you know that the ones in the actual community post, I have not rehearsed and I have not read. I skimmed over them to make sure the questions were appropriate, but you will get an authentic, legit answer from the question off the top of my head. So remember that for next time. Don't ask me about a particular redemption or how to do something, because I'm not going to rehearse these things. I want to give you some authentic, legitimate, responses to these questions. Cesar wants to know when the next meet. Hey, I'm not scheduling the next meetup, but I also want to say this. This brings me to my next point. If I look a little disheveled or I don't speak as well as I normally do, I have to admit something. And this is something we all go through. I'm overwhelmed, and I'll explain what I mean by that. I've had a couple long weeks of regular work, had a couple long weeks of YouTube stuff. My wife is working a lot more than usual, so I've been kind of tasked with some extra parental duties, and my nightly routine has been out of sorts. So I'm at the point where I'm really just overwhelmed with life. I'm leaving in the morning to go to Nashville for a Bengals game. So if I look kind of off, that's why. But at the same time, I am super blessed and super lucky and super fortunate to be this overwhelmed. I know, guys, I complain about working so much, and I know guys that don't have a job. I complain about doing the dad stuff, and I know some guys don't get to see their kids all the time. Indy Sports Cards, thank you, sir. RJ's in the house. So if I look a little off, that's why. And to top things off, you guys are going to laugh, and it's okay to laugh. I think I've lost my passport. And why that is significant is because I have a trip to Prague in 3 weeks and a family trip to Mexico in 6 weeks. If I have lost my passport, I won't get it in time. I won't get it in time, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. If anyone has lost their passport before a trip, comment and tell me what you did. Did you just reapply for a new one and kind of gamble on the time frame, or what? Because I don't have any idea where that passport could be. Woodsy says he knows the dad game and being overworked, and hey guys, it's like I know as men we're not supposed to complain, but I wanted to kind of unload that on you guys just real quick, and I won't say anything more about it. But we are absolutely blessed and fortunate to have these great problems we have. The great problem is not losing my passport, because if I have to cancel our family trip to Cancun, my wife's gonna be really, really mad. But we'll see. Maybe I can parlay that into a Puerto Rico trip and go see Cesar. 7 Fallen Angels. Have I possibly thought about getting the Redstone Federal Credit Union card? That's a big time, really good card. Here's my issue right now with that card. I applied to be a member of the Redstone Federal Credit Union, and they want to make me come in or do a video chat to verify my identity. And I have joined a couple of these federal credit unions lately, and they have some really peculiar ways of verifying my identity. Uh, one of I want to say it wasn't a bound, maybe it was a bound federal credit union. They sent me some questions to verify my identity, and one of them was what was my mother's birthday. I don't have any idea. And one of them was my astrological sign, and I didn't have any idea. So I don't know how those two things would identify me, but no, I have not gotten the Redstone card. Uh, Probably won't, but I will. I have looked into it, and I will still consider it. Cesar says it takes a couple of weeks to get a new one. If that's all it takes, I might be able to get it in time. So probably not for Prague, but at least for Mexico. Woodsy says, "Have I looked at a digital passport?" I don't. I haven't looked into anything yet. I've been walking around the house looking for the passport, and I haven't completely decided it's missing, but it seems to be missing. All right, guys, I'm going to come back to some of your questions, um, because I want to get some of these questions started, but I will kind of go back and forth. So if you do have a question, absolutely post it. Viva Zapata has a coyote that can get me to Mexico. I would probably go with the coyote, but I don't want to take my 7-year-old, my wife, with the coyote. Travis Lionheart called his local congressman to expedite it. Ugh, that sounds like a huge pain in the butt. Woodsy got denied for the Ink Unlimited. It's over 524. David William, I don't know where there's a passport agency, but regardless of where it is, I can go there. So I'll think out when I come back from Tennessee Monday, I'm going to tear this house apart looking for it. And if I can't find it, I'll make a decision then. My wife is actually a lot better at finding stuff around here than I am. I pretty much just sleep here. Jack Wang, thoughts on churning credit cards? That's a complicated question. I don't get cards just to churn them. I do get certain cards just for the sign up bonus in the first year, but I try to get cards that I can keep or cards that make sense long term. Edris Mata, what's up, man? YouTube experiment says video chat. I don't know what that means. Let me get to a couple of these questions. Eduardo Hernandez, what's been your favorite redemptions? And I'm looking at my phone because I haven't read these, so I'm not like checking texts and stuff like that. I'm actually reading them to you live. Eduardo wants to know what's my favorite redemption so far, and what's been my most lucrative. Well, I've answered this a couple times, and I don't mind answering it a million times because I think it's a good example of how we do this stuff in this game. My favorite redemptions so far, one of them was I flew Qatar Q Suites to Dubai, met my Navy buddy there, and I stayed at the Atlantis and stayed at the Ritz-Carlton in the Marina. Super luxurious, super high level redemption as far as cents per point. Super great experience because I had never been to the Middle East. And on the other end of the spectrum, a few years ago, I was able to take my wife and all our family. I have 3 stepchildren that are grown now, but we had a season in life where this was the last time we thought we could get everybody together for one vacation. And I took all 6 of us, yes, 6 of us to Miami. And it was a pretty simple redemption. We stayed at a Hilton, and I can't even remember what it was called, the Gale. I think it was called the Gale, right there in Miami Beach or South Beach, like in between there. Just a 2 or 3 day short vacation. It was in November, but really cool there. The last time we had actually all been together and those kids becoming adults, it's going to be a long time before we can do that again. So those are 2 examples and 2 different ways to redeem points. And both of them were really great redemptions. I guess an honorable mention is last May, myself and my son and my wife, we went to Hawaii for 10 days. That's got to count for something. That's a really cool redemption. The artist 395 has two questions. Thoughts on the Wyndham Rewards credit cards with the Caesars match, and which is my favorite airline alliance, as in Star Alliance, One World, or SkyTeam? First question, Wyndham Rewards cards. I don't stay at Wyndham's, and I don't really spend much time thinking about status matching the Caesars because I don't gamble either. I do like to go to Vegas, but I, I don't stay at Wyndham's. I don't have any of the cards, so I don't really have any thoughts on them. Do I plan on getting any Wyndham cards? No, because they're with Barclays, and I don't deserve the headache of applying for cards with Barclays. Which airline alliance? You know what? That they all kind of have their niche. I wouldn't say SkyTeam, but I love Air France. Star Alliance, I feel, has the best redemptions for me. But then again, One World, British Airways. So I think they all have their place. And I think they're all great tools to have in your toolbox. And I've used all of them. So, you know, I think to answer that question, I just like to use the partners. You know, tough question, man. I like all of them the same, depending on where I'm going. I haven't been to Japan yet, but I probably depend on using a One World partner to go to Japan. Cesar Joel, next creator meetup, date and state. First one was great. We got to keep it up. I agree, man. I don't think we need to wait a year to do it again. I think we should do it as many times as somebody wants to schedule one. You guys, in our little community, we've talked about this, and I'm pretty vocal with where I think these meetups should be. I helped plan the Vegas one. If you're asking me where we're having a meetup next, man, I'm thinking it might be my favorite city in the United States, New Orleans. I think it's centrally located. It's an affordable getaway for a lot of people, and it is a really unique and crazy place. If you guys have ever been to New Orleans, tell me what you feel about that city in the chat. I know a lot of people in my world don't like it there. They have a lot of negative things to say about New Orleans. For me and my wife, it's our favorite city to go to. I actually just looked online to buy an apartment in New Orleans, thinking about getting into the Airbnb game, and I found a really cool apartment in the French Quarter. So I don't think that's going to happen, but it's something I'm going to be researching. Cesar says January, Miami, second weekend. I can do that. Absolutely can do that. I think it's a great idea. Everybody loves Miami, especially in January. It'll be cold here. If you plan it, man, I will promote it and I will be there 100%. User MM2IN9FK5C. No idea what that means. He or she says they can't decide between the Amex Gold and the Delta Platinum Amex card because they fly at least once a month across the country using Delta. The upgrades are amazing. He already has the Delta Reserve. Okay, so let me give you my opinion on this. With the changes that Delta has announced and then kind of walked backwards, I don't know if I would get another Delta card right now. Can you earn tons and tons of Delta Sky Miles with that gold card? Yes. Gold card is money. I'll suggest a gold card to almost anyone as long as you eat food. Keith S. just kindly contributed to the chat with a super chat, a monetary thank you. Keith S., I appreciate it. That $5 will go towards something really awesome. And Keith says, have I ever run into an issue cycling my credit limits? Paying early because you maxed out your credit limits. You know what? That's a really interesting question because I've seen people really recommend not doing that. But here's how I operate most of my credit cards. I spend on the card, and as soon as that charge hits the card, I pay it. So I may have inadvertently cycled my credit limit before, but I don't think it happens very often because I generally have way higher credit limits than I do spend. For some reason, I sometimes have cards with 20, 26,000, 30,000, and I don't spend that much. Maybe a few hundred at a time. So monthly, it wouldn't be anywhere near that. So I would recommend trying not to do that, but I pay mine off pretty quickly, even when they say that's not a good idea. Just lately, I've tried to let some of those balances report to the credit bureaus because I got turned down for a pen fed card for never carrying a balance or never having any kind of utilization on cards. So recently, I've tried to let a few $100s report to the credit bureaus. I don't know how that's turned out yet, but I'll let you guys know. I don't know. LOL says opinions on the U.S. Bank Altitude Reserve. That card has had somewhat of a resurgence in the last few weeks on YouTube. And I'm not really sure why, because it's always been a good card for some folks, but it's definitely not a card of exponential value for going deep into the game. Like you're not gonna travel all over the world with that card. But if you're a cash back guy that does some travel, it's a good card. Uh, would I recommend it to everyone? Probably not. And I know everyone says, well, that mobile wallet is so great. I don't get the most chances in the world to use mobile wallet. I just don't spend that much money. I think it's a great card if you can get it. And, you know, $400 with a $325 food and travel credit. And you can get 1.5 instant rewards. I mean, if you're in US Bank's ecosystem, absolutely get it. If you're an aspirational travel American Express guy, you might stay away from that one. Bobby Yakuza just hit us with a 20 piece. Wow, man. Very nice. Thank you so much. Bobby would like to ask about Pro Team branded cards, gimmick or value. He has an Orioles card, and the sub was 2 tickets valued at $100 each. Experiences and memorabilia. Admittedly, it was just for fun at the park. If it's no annual fee, I think it's no harm. And I say that because all of us guys are into some things that most people think are silly. I'm a Bengals fan. Would I want a Bengals credit card? No, because I'm not that kind of fan. But I can 100% understand somebody who would like their sports team on their card to earn experiences and rewards with that sports team. It just depends on how big of a fan you are. Again, if it's no annual fee, why not, man? There's value to all that stuff. Flying down to Miami might not be as valuable as sitting front row at an Orioles game. Matter of fact, growing up, I had a cousin that was in the Orioles organization. I think he made it to about AA. So I kind of grew up liking the Orioles as well. Big Cal Ripken Jr. fan. All right, let me get some more of these. Ryan GS50G. I've seen some videos that you have a very high velocity strategy. That's true. How big of a concern are shutdowns if you quickly open accounts with the same issuer? Would it be crazy to open a 4th card with Chase in a 6-month span if he can meet the minimum spending requirements? I assume as far as velocity, I have a completely different philosophy than most other credit card YouTubers, and they are 100% not wrong, but my strategy is different. Have you seen all these videos about my credit card roadmap? And they're videos about these are the cards I'm going to be applying for in the next 2 years. You're not going to see one of those for me. I think as soon as you get your core set of cards, game on. You apply for the card that you want that day that has the best bonus. And I don't believe in this. We have to be very strategic because it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's only not a sprint if you can't sprint the marathon. If you can sprint the marathon and you can get 50 cards, get 50 cards. I don't worry about a shutdown. You guys can hear my dogs barking. I apologize, but like I said, super busy week. I don't worry about a shutdown, and I don't think 4 cards in 6 months with Chase is a big deal. I got 7 Chase cards in 6 months or in 7 months. But I will say this. If you are really going to be very aggressive and have a high velocity with a certain bank, this is my recommendation. This is what I've done with Chase. I've done my personal banking with Chase for a lot of years. I do my business banking with Chase for my property management rental property company. I put a few $100s in a brokerage account. I What else do I have? I have several business credit cards and personal credit cards. I get a lot of different products from Chase. So I think when they see me as a customer, they do see someone, and I've had an auto loan with them. They see me as someone who they can cross promote different products with. So maybe I slide by the radar when someone else doesn't. So my recommendation is if you do see an issuer and you say, I'm going to get them, I'm going to get all those cards, might be a good idea to have a couple of deposit accounts with them. Maybe put $1,000 in a brokerage account and put it into some. I think what I have is it's JEPI. It's like a bond ETF, so it kind of throws off some cash, but it's really not going to do much at all. But it's just $1,000 sitting there, so it puts me in a light as a customer that I use their products. But no, I don't roadmap. I don't stay conservative with applications. I don't care about inquiries. I don't care about any of that. Um, the name of the game is bonuses, right? So if you can meet the minimum spend, go get that bonus. As long as you have your core cards, if something happens where you can't get another bonus for a while, you're not really missing out on anything. You have your core cards. Just my opinion. And like I said, my analogy for that is I can sprint the entire marathon. And there's no evidence that I can't because I've never stopped. Good question, though. I like it. Ryan. William Pinkett. I'm going through a bit of a crisis with the changes to the Delta loyalty program. You and a whole bunch of other people. I know you don't value airline loyalty status, but as an outsider, do you find top tier American airline status or United status better? He's going to jump ship. I don't find any of them better, but I will say this. It's really easy to get American Airlines status, and it's really easy to get gold, and from there you can maybe leverage some different things to get platinum. I would never be able to get anything more than that, but using American Airlines, one of their credit cards, one of their Simply Miles programs, and their shopping portal, any normal person with average spend can get gold status. Now, in my airport, the biggest airline is Southwest, which they're not going to get upgrades with Southwest. Next is American Airlines. Third is Delta, and then United. So what was my experience with when I had status with Delta and American Airlines? It's about the same. You're not going to get upgraded in Atlanta or Detroit or Minneapolis. And with American, you're not going to get upgraded in Miami or Dallas or LA. But in my little airport, I got upgraded about half the time with each of them. So I think the American Airlines program is better for me because I can spend my way there. And they also have the better routes for me here in Columbus. Like Cesar mentioned, I can fly direct to Miami in 2 hours and 15 minutes. And I want to. JP Knowledge. If you have not checked out JP Knowledge's YouTube channel, check it out. The dude has a unique style and he walks the walk for sure. Tons of redemptions, Europe, Japan, all over the United States. The dude is a big time dude, JP Knowledge. But he asked, what's the most points you can see yourself paying for a first class flight? If you met the requirements, would you pay 250,000 points to fly Air France Le Premier? Now, if you don't know about Air France, you have to have a certain level of status to even fly their first class product. And it's one of those aspirational big league products. So what's the most I would pay for a first class flight? If you guys know me, you know that I earn and I burn. I can earn a couple million points in a year and I can use all of them. I don't save them. I don't, you know, So to answer your question, we'll just use your example. Would I pay 250,000 Air France miles to fly Le Premier? Yes, absolutely. What else am I going to do with it? I mean, is there an opportunity cost with cash? Yeah, but that's not something we completely think about all the time when we are team travel or temporarily team cash back. But yeah, JP, I'll pay it. Now, is that prohibitively expensive for me to take my family? Yeah, I can't pay 750,000 for all three of us. But if it's just me heading to Prague, if I have a passport, yeah, I'll pay 250. I don't care. Would I brag about it? No. What do we have here? Best Andy Shukai. Sukai. I'm sorry, Andy Sukai. Best hotels in South Florida. He's got the Hilton Conrad on the list. There is a Ritz-Carlton in South Beach that I've never been to, but I think that one's pretty good. There's a couple W's. Where the Hilton Conrad in Lauderdale, you have just this whole string of great hotels. Four Seasons, W. You have a Hilton that's really nice. However, the Hilton, from what I've been told by local people, is not the best at following the Hilton program, and they will not do any complimentary upgrades at the Hilton, which is right next door to the Conrad. Don't know that for sure, but that's what the locals tell me. So anybody stays there and anybody gets upgraded, please let me know because it's a sweet hotel. It's really nice. That Hilton is probably almost just as nice as the Conrad. And the restaurant is money. The restaurant, sushi at the restaurant is big time for sure. All right, let me see what else we got here. Long-time friend of the channel, Jimmy James. I know you don't value airline status and loyalty, but if you had to choose just one, which one, why, and co-branded card setup? If I had to choose just one, man, it's American Airlines. And it has nothing to do with the program. It only has to do with the routes. American Airlines, I can fly direct to Dallas, Miami. They have a hub in LA, which I would maybe use to fly to Asia. But yeah, it would be American Airlines. Do I think Delta's hard product is better? Yes, absolutely. Delta's hard product is better. And with Delta, JFK is my biggest positioning flight airport. So although American Airlines does fly direct to the New York airports, so does Delta, and they're really cheap and really easy to get there with Air France miles or Virgin Atlantic. I'm going to go with American Airlines just because it's the easiest way to get at least gold status. Points Play Travel. What card do you use for your general monthly bills? Phone, internet, water, electric. I use what I have routinely called one of the most underrated credit cards in the game for regular utilities, gas, water, electricity. I use the US Bank Cash Plus to get 5% cash back. And unless I'm hitting a bonus, that one stays there. For internet and phone, I use the Chase Ink Cash Card. Now, for phone, that's a little bit different because the Chase Ink Cash doesn't have phone protection. So in that case, a lot of times I have used the Chase Ink Preferred. That gives 3 times UR points on cell phones, and it has cell phone protection. But yeah, US Bank Cash Plus, set it and forget it. I have it set up to automatically pay the electric bill, automatically pay off the card. I don't even look at the card. Baseball 714. Do you think MGM Gold is going to be available with the Marriott Boundless? I really want to complete my hotel status portfolio for Vegas. Baseball, I don't know. Was MGM Gold available with the World of Hyatt card? I don't know. I think there will be a way to a little easier get, but it may even be MGM Pearl. I don't know, man. I can't answer that. I'm not a Marriott guy. Not as much. It's like my 4th or 5th used hotel. I don't chase status in Vegas, and I don't really status match anything. So not really part of the game I study. But those details should be coming out pretty soon as far as what I've read with Marriott taking over that aspect in Vegas with MGM. So it could be exciting. It could be a game changer. Actually, Sullivan, kind of a cool name. What's your preferred Visa card to use either abroad or domestically when American Express is not accepted? Well, it depends. It depends on what I'm using because I rotate systems and I rotate strategies quite often. I right now I'm trying to collect some cash back, so it could be the Navy Federal flagship Visa, 2% cash back on everything, 3% cash back on travel. Could be the Venture X. If I'm in a super travel mode, and that's almost always my don't take Amex card because I send my wife a text every month, and if we're in travel point accumulation mode, don't take Amex, Venture X. What do we have here? Ryan asked, "Do I play fantasy football, or are you only into watching the Bengals?" Here, Ryan, let me say something that's super unpopular. Fantasy football is for people that aren't cool enough to play Dungeons and Dragons, and I mean that sincerely. I don't play fantasy football. I don't have time to. I get why people like it, but I also blame fantasy football for how sports are covered because I don't care if some dude catches 228 yards and loses by 13 points. I don't care. I'm a little bit old school in that I think the main stat and the only stat is the W. So no, I don't. But I do understand guys are into their thing, and I don't really mean that you guys aren't cool. You're just not as cool as people that play Dungeons and Dragons. And no, I don't. I don't play Dungeons and Dragons. I wish I did. Opinion of Barclays. I won't even apply for a Barclays card. It's not at this point. They don't have any cards that are worth my headache or my time to deal with them. Meow meow. Venture X business. What are my thoughts? Here, I think I would rather have the Venture X business than the Venture X, but my only hangout with the card is that bonus is very, very difficult for most people to hit. And the other part, from what I understand, and someone comment if they know for sure, but someone commented on one of my last videos that their Venture X business reports their personal credit. If that's the case, completely worthless for me. I'll just take the personal card, and I have the personal card. Hector Negron, Blue Business or Hilton Surpass for catch-all card? That's a great question. I don't think you can lose either way. I got the Hilton Surpass last year, and I spent the $15K on it to get the free night. So you could put that as a catch-all card. After that, I got the Hilton. Well, after that, I upgraded it to another Aspire card and got the Hilton Business card, similar to the Surpass. And I used that as a catch-all card and put 15,000 on that one. When you do that, now, when you put your catch-all on the Blue Business Plus, you're going to get a moderate amount of MR points, and that's a great thing. When you use the Hilton Surpass or the Hilton Business card, you're going to get a ton of Hilton Honors points that are less valuable, but you also have that free night. And I just did a video on what I'm using those free nights for, and pretty substantial thing. So depends on what you're going for. I don't have a problem with either one. I think they're both great catch-all cards. Not the Cobra Commander. When it comes to long-haul flights, what amount of time would you say justifies premium economy and business upgrades versus staying in economy? It's a great question. He plans on taking a flight from Texas to Australia. Dude, go for it all the way. Do business. A lot of people I hear say 3 or 4 hours and under. It's fine to be in economy. I can sit in economy, but here's my thing. If you can afford it at the time, and I mean by points and miles afford, if you have the points and miles to go to business, don't even think about doing economy. If you have, don't save, especially with Australia. If you have the points and miles, don't save them for something else. That's the end game. Australia. That's the big league redemption. Use them. My answer is always going to be burn those jokers. Spend them. Get more. Spend them all. Get more. Remember, if you ever get caught needing to go somewhere and you don't have any points or miles, you still can use money. I don't know. LOL asked me if I have any cards I regret getting. I have a lot of cards I regret getting. I did a video on that. It's been a while. Let me see if I can remember. I can remember. I'll give you two. I got the BlockFi Rewards Visa card that supposedly earned Bitcoin rewards. I was one of those people. I was not a Bitcoin fanatic, but I was very curious about the technology and the space. And I thought it's a no annual fee card. Maybe I can get some referrals for people who want to earn Bitcoin. I got it. I regret it. I don't have it anymore. I canceled it and they went bankrupt. And, just a bad decision. It's almost the same thing with the SoFi 2% MasterCard. I don't think it's a bad card by any means, but I've never mentioned this on the channel before, but I got a SoFi account. I got the SoFi credit card. I had never used it, and they just canceled it on me a month ago. They just, no warning, no anything. They just told me it was canceled from inactivity. And it was never active. I don't even know if I activated the card, but I regret that one because that put me over 524 and kind of changed my direction temporarily. Lance Jones, best credit cards for gas. I have a video on that as well. I can tell you what I've been using. The last four cards I've used as specific gas cards were Discover It, because I'm in my first year. I'm getting 10% back on gas. City Custom Cash, set as your only category you're using it for, 5% 5 times thank you points, which I'm a big fan of thank you points. Third, the Hilton Honors business card, 6 times Hilton Honors points on gas. And I just got the Abound, I don't know what it's called, Abound Platinum Visa. It is 5% cash back, uncapped on gas. So those are the 4 I've used most recently. And then obviously if I'm going for a bonus with something, that gets used for everything. But I think those 4 are all big league. The Discover obviously is only good for a quarter, so you can probably just throw that one out. But the other 3, I don't think you can lose with that. I think 3 points or 6 points Hilton Honors is better than most cashback cards. I think 5 times thank you points is really good. So a couple other cards, and I could be mistaken, but I think maybe the IHG business card from Chase is 5 times at gas stations. I could be wrong about that, but I know I was using that one for a while. So there's a lot of good gas cards. Pick your poison. There's plenty of 3% cashback stuff. USAA has a 5% cashback on gas, very low cap at, I think, at $3,000 per year. PNC Bank has a 4% cashback at gas stations, and I think it has a $7,000 a year cap. But you have a lot of good choices there, depending on what you're into: hotel points, transferable currencies, or cash. Let me see here. Ask Moni. Ask Emone. Sorry, I'm an Appalachian man, so some of these names are difficult for me. Ask Emoni. Can you please go over Iberia Avios versus Avios plus cash? I don't have time to do that on a live, but you're going to get much more value just using Avios. If you don't have the Avios, you can supplement that with cash. Me personally, I'm in the game to use points and miles to travel. So if I can, I'm just going to use Avios. And a big part of that is they're so easy to earn. I don't want to pay cash for Iberian flights. The credit card connection, my man. He needs my help and advice. He just applied for the Amex Gold business card and got an offer for 100,000 points, $10,000 spent in 6 months. Then he took a chance being 824 with Chase and got the Inc. preferred for 100,000 UR points, for $8,000 spend. I think I know where you're going here. Which would you attack and fulfill first? By the way, I shot my shot and I also got the United Business Mileage Plus card. 3 cards. I did a video not too long about this as well. And the good thing for you is the holidays are coming up. So you're probably going to spend some extra money. I would take those one at a time. Which one is the most important bonus? And better way of looking at it, which is the least important bonus? Take the least important bonus, which I'm probably going to assume is the United card. And I would go everything on one, everything on the next, and everything on the third. And I do have a video on some tips about meeting minimum spend requirements. One thing is a lot of people didn't realize that you can actually, if you're paying a mortgage, you don't have to let your lender, in some cases, keep an escrow account for your taxes and insurance. I pay those separately, and I pay those with a credit card to get bonuses. You can do quarterly taxes to the IRS. You can. And by the way, I don't manufacture spend, so none of my techniques will be anything like that. I don't do money orders, or I don't even talk about that for the most part. But I buy things that I know I have to purchase, and I did a video. I had a setup to where I have access to the Navy exchange stores, so military-based stores online where there's no sales tax on those. And I took some ink cards and purchased gift cards from Staples to earn 5 times UR points on that. I used the household items at the Navy exchange store. I had a whole basement full of trash bags, soap, laundry detergent, all those things you're pretty sure you're going to need in the next 6 months. If you have the cash on the side or on hand, run it up. Soap, shampoo, toilet paper, I have a whole basement full of that. And it doesn't really affect my spending much because I have to buy those things anyway. So good luck. I think you'll be able to do it. There are some desperate techniques, and maybe we'll go over some of that here in the near future. But I think you can get away with using that for your taxes, your insurance. Here's the thing: if you have a card, if one of those, like the Ink Preferred, it has a 3 times multiplier on cell phones. Pay your cell phone bill for the year. People don't like to do that, but I'm pretty sure you're going to have a cell phone bill for the next year. So what does it matter if you pay it every month or pay it all now? Great question, though. Have you been to Turkey? If so, how did I get there? This is a funny question. I got there on a ship, probably 5 or 6 times when I was 19 years old and 21 years old. So yeah, I've been to Turkey, and I would recommend it. And I really want to go back too. But I sailed to Turkey on the USS Austin in the 90s. Things in Turkey were a little different from what I understand. Tom Brennan says, I'm his favorite credit card YouTuber. That's a big, big compliment because there's some really good ones, man. Really good ones. Seems like everyone else in the game is under 25. And you are right. I have a different perspective, and I think I appeal to people more from my generation, or at least a little bit older with families. You're a real guy with a family land. I really appreciate your insight. Who's my favorite credit card? Well, here's the thing. I got to meet him recently, and like I don't want to sound like I'm pumping people up or whatever, but the guys I met at the Vegas meetup, these guys are high caliber men that are ambitious and smart and hardworking. So it's so great for me to be around people like them. They make me want to be better. So they're all really good. As far as content, my favorite has always been Ask Sebi, and I think one of the reasons is he's just right to the point and has the math. And when I was watching credit card videos, I really didn't like the jokes and the heavy editing and the extra stuff. Give me my information. And it doesn't have to be entertaining for me. Not that Sebi's not entertaining, because he is, but he's always been my favorite guy. But man, these new guys are big time. I like Chad. I like Sledge. I like Anthony Venture. I like JP Knowledge. We mentioned him. Um, Spencer is going to be the biggest one out of all of us, I think. Um, they just, I like them all, and there's things I don't like about all of them. So, but I'm not here to be critical of anybody because that's just how I am. There's things I don't like. Matt Welter's another up and comer. There's some really good ones. I can't mention them all, and I'm sorry if I didn't say your name, but the group of guys out in Vegas, big time dudes. Matt Welter, speak of the devil. Let's go, Luke. Most rewarding thing about being a YouTube creator. This is going to sound super cheesy, but I don't care because I'm old enough to be cheesy. I have dad jokes and all that good stuff. But when someone says, someone that doesn't know me and doesn't owe me anything, tells me, hey, I watched that video about you talking about this. I did it, and I took my wife to wherever. It's that's you guys have heard me talk about being a big time husband and a big time dad. That's big time dad and husband stuff. If you can take knowledge, on your own time, acquire some knowledge, find out how to execute those redemptions and do it and enrich other people's lives and enrich your own family's life. And I had a part of it. That's really cool. That's as corny as that sounds. That's really cool. And anybody who's done that, then you are a big time dad, a big time husband. All right, I don't want to miss anything. Ian Coulter, when building your setup, should you follow where the math says you'll earn the most, or should you focus on what transfer partners you want? Torn between my Venture X and Platinum, Amex Platinum for catch-all. Well, that's tough. I think they're two different cards, and I don't think the Amex Platinum is a catch-all in any strategy. So that's I don't think that's what that's for. But I would say, as far as the math is always going to be the math. You can't argue about it. That doesn't mean your heart's wrong. That doesn't mean your feelings are wrong. I will use City cards sometimes, even though I know my American Express Gold card earns 25% more because it has Turkish, and because it has a 2-to-1 transfer to Choice Hotels. So I don't think you can go wrong. I think we make a little bit too much about this math. If you are spending on your credit cards and getting rewards for it, you're winning. Ryan says, what are some of the next few places I would like to visit with points? I need to go to Asia, man. I need to go to Japan. I need to go to Tokyo. I have to do it. My wife doesn't want to go, so that means I probably have to go myself. Those are the trips I reserved to go with my Navy buddy. And I think we've decided Vietnam is next. So I want to go to Vietnam. Let me see what the next one we have on the community post. Matt Welter, official, once again. Top 3 countries you haven't traveled to but want to. And hypothetical, Hilton Aspire card increases its annual fee to $750. Benefits stay the same. Is it still worth it? Well, number 1, top 3 countries I haven't been to. I have to go. Iceland. Number 1, Iceland. The boy wants to go. The wife wants to go. I'll put Vietnam and Japan as one, somewhere in Asia. And it has to be a Scandinavian country. So we've got Iceland. Well, you know what? Scandinavia might be too close to Iceland. With Iceland, Vietnam, or Japan, and we'll go with Norway, Sweden, or Denmark. So there's a few choices. Some of them are similar, but different parts of the world. Let's see here. Oh, and Matt, your second question. Hilton Aspire goes to $750. I think math-wise, $750 still works. I think math-wise, it still works for me, but I'll probably dump it. And I probably dump it because even though it does still work for me, it would be hard for me to shell out $1,500 in annual fees just for Hilton, or $1,595 just in annual fees for Hilton stays. That might be enough to question my loyalty to Hilton, maybe go with Hyatt, or maybe be a free agent. I don't think 750. I, I think that might be my breaking point. RJ says I've mentioned that I don't like to use UR points for Hyatt as I get more value using them for international flights. Can I talk more about that? And Hyatt points are harder to earn. I don't have enough time to go too much into it, but people will justify UR points with a 1.5 UR point card like the unlimited and say, well, it's actually 1.83 or something. That's great, but 1.5, even if you're getting 3 points, I can get 10 points with that same UR point. I don't like transferring my transferable currencies to hotels. I think that's what hotel cards are for. And most hotel cards earn and give great benefits. The Hyatt cards don't. I love Hyatt. I'm going to be at a Hyatt tomorrow night in Nashville. I love staying at Hyatts. I love the world of Hyatt point, but it is so much easier for me to rack up tons of IHG points, tons of choice points, not comparing choice to Hyatt, tons of Hilton points. I could probably do Marriott points as well, but it's so much easier for me to rack up those points without touching my membership rewards, my thank you points, or my UR points. I just don't like that transfer. Now, have I done it? Yeah. My trip to Mexico that I might not be able to go on is like 216 Hyatt points, 216,000 Hyatt points transferred from Chase. Now that was when I was getting 4 ink cards in 4 months, but I think we could do better. And I think the appeal is, hey, this is simple. Use this 1.5x unlimited on all your stuff, and then just transfer to Hyatt, and you can't lose. The floor value is very high. The ceiling is somewhat low to me when I can get way more value in a different way. And I hope I didn't ramble on about that. And I'm kind of getting tired of picking on Hyatt, but as long as if people keep hyping it up, I'll keep talking down about it. Sir Friend Zone. That's such a very unfortunate name. What card would you compare the Ritz-Carlton card with? Now, this is another interesting question because I love Stan the Credit Frog, and I love how he's boosted up the Ritz-Carlton card. And everybody's having Ritz-Carlton card hysteria right now. I don't think it's a great card. Here's my issue with it. One, you can't get it. You have to get under Chase 524. You have to apply for a card that you may or may not want. You have to wait a year, then you have the product change, and you have to take a chance that this Ritz-Carlton card, which has been discontinued, will still be around a year from now. It's $450, which I think is very reasonable. I don't want to call in for airline incidental credits for that $300. I don't want to do it. You can tell me it's easy. You can tell me it's this and that. I don't want to do it. The 85K certificate is great. The other Marriott card from American Express gets a $85,000 or 85,000 point certificate. It also gets platinum status. The Ritz-Carlton card doesn't give you platinum status. And if anybody has ever stayed at Ritz-Carltons, they don't follow any of your rules. None. The whole status with Marriott, Ritz-Carlton, a lot of times will say, we don't do that. So that's why I don't like it. Now, do I like Ritz-Carlton properties? Oh, absolutely. But I will stay there through the Fine Hotels and Resorts program. But I would compare it with the other Marriott card from American Express, the high annual fee one. I would also compare it to the Aspire. I think it's on that level. It's just those issues I have with it keep me from ever trying to get it. Nubia Rising, $5, baby. Thank you for the 13,000 sub present. Between the two top dogs, Amex and Chase, which is better for what? In my opinion, Amex has superior multipliers and points earnings repertoire. My Nubian brother, I completely agree with you. I think American Express is superior with earning and it is superior with those of us who want to be deeper in the game. Chase is really good for domestic economy travelers that just want to transfer to Hyatt and use the portal for flights. Much simpler. Their marketing is way better. The people actually believe that Chase personal cards are very strong, and I don't see the math in that. I think their business cards are great, but I think American Express is superior if you are somebody who wants to get deep in the game and you can pay the annual fees. And if you want a simpler, you're younger and you can't pay these annual fees and you don't know how much you're actually going to travel, maybe Chase. But even then, I think City might be better. I'm not a Chase hater, but I don't believe their consumer cards are competitive with American Express's cards. Lance Jones says, what's the best way to spend a $200 airline incidental from the Amex Platinum? I can tell you the two ways I use it now. And when you tell people these things and everybody starts doing it, they go away. But if you purchase a Southwest flight ticket under $99, it will trigger that credit. Now, if you cancel that flight, you'll still have the credit with Southwest. So that is really easy to liquidate $200 into $200 at Southwest. Another way that is working right now is United has a travel bank that you can deposit money into. If you deposit $100 and $100 or even just $200, it will likely trigger that incidental credit and you have $200 with United. I've done both of those things. They've worked, but as the more we talk about it, the more likely they are to go away. Oh man, let me see here. Let me see. Okay. How did I mess this? Okay. We have a lot of questions, boys and girls. Budget live save. Sorry. I recently booked 3 round trips from Philly to Orlando. Separate one way from Orlando to Philly, all economy for 78,000 AA miles and $36. How did I do? So 3 round trips plus a separate one way. So you're looking at 7 flights, right? 7 segments for 78,000. I think you're doing just fine. And here's why. You're getting out of Philly. So if it was a million points, you'd be doing good. That's a joke. I don't have anything against Philly. But yeah, Philly to Orlando, I think you're an averaging just over 10,000 miles a trip. Can you do better? Maybe with sales. But are you doing just fine? Absolutely. Do your thing. Dugras reports, I thought you disliked Southwest. I do, but my wife has taken my boy to Disney World in a couple weeks, and I got them Southwest flights, so I don't have to use them. Father 7875 is the ultimate end game in 2-player mode, a 6 Aspire card setup. No, that would be not for me. I don't use my player 2 for annual fee cards. I have my player 2 on a fairly conservative, no annual fee variety of cards. She's doing really good right now, but we're not getting her cards with annual fees that I have to keep track of. D. Wilson Music. If you had to whittle down your credit cards to just 2 or 3, what would they be? That's tough, man. 2 or 3. The great thing is I don't have to. 2 or 3. Which is it? 2 or 3? City Premier and City Custom Cash. I could probably kill it with just those. City or Cash Inc. Preferred and Cash Inc. or Chase Inc. Preferred and Chase Inc. Cash. I could kill with those 2. But I don't. That's a tough question because I don't want to think about that. Like, it hurts my heart even thinking about 2 or 3 cards. Chad, official Chad's Money Minutes, the money man, like this. My Aunt Connie wants to know when I plan on replacing her socks. Her feet are getting very cold. Autumn is coming, guys. It's your responsibility when you knock your Aunt Connie's socks off to give her a replacement or rubber feet. And your aunt might not be actually related to you, so you can rub her feet. And also, here's a question: when I do the Aunt Connie footage, what kind of Aunt Connie do we want? Do we want the young, attractive Aunt Connie, or do we want something more realistic, like maybe an older, not as attractive, but way more mad Aunt Connie? Tell me what kind of Aunt Connie you want. I'm always kind of guessing and interested in what people think of when they think of Aunt Connie. Ryan wants the young, attractive Aunt Connie. Yeah, okay. Millennial Aunt Connie. All right, I get it. I get it. Dro's Baller. J. Raw's Baller. When did you start your credit journey? How many accounts have you closed? I started my credit journey. I'm old, so it had to have been when I was in the Navy and I got the Navy store card. Maybe 1995, I think. So yeah, I have an older, thicker credit profile. How many cards have I closed? I've closed a lot. I don't keep track of how many, but I am not afraid to close card whatsoever. I don't believe in anybody worrying about closing cards. If it's not working, it's getting closed if it can't be downgraded. I don't know. LOL says that Aunt Connie, older Aunt Connie hits different. So this is what I'm getting. Let's keep it. Let's keep a diverse Aunt Connie. We need different races, different ages, different weights. Aunt Connie is sitting on the recliner with knee-high black socks. Well, all right. Do I cut up old cards or I collect them? I keep them. I like to look at them because, I like the marketing just like anyone else. I got that question already. Drewas012. You said this year you've stayed mostly at Hyatt's. How many nights have you acquired this year? Did you happen to reach Globalist with the built promo earlier this year? I would never ever reach Globalist with nights. I can't stay that many nights. Most of my trips are 2 or 3 nights. I don't know how many nights I've been with Hyatt, but this year I will hit the free night for staying at 5 different types of Hyatts. Couple nights in Nashville this weekend, and then 5 more nights in Mexico if I find my passport. So, and I still have a lot of Hyatt points. So I will continue to mix the Hyatt stays in there, and I will continue to bash the Hilton credit cards or the Hyatt credit cards. And I have the Hyatt business card. It's not great. Emmanuel Rodriguez is in the house, boys. Emmanuel. Michael Keaton asked, what are some of your hobbies? Hobbies are, I do have hobbies, but I'm in a season of life right now where I don't get to enjoy hobbies like I used to. I like to power lift, but I haven't been competing in the last few years. I want to change that. I want to compete in 2024. That's a hobby that takes up a lot of time. Sporting events. Here's the thing. I'm not that big of a sports fan, but I really like taking my boy to football games and traveling traveling is my biggest hobby. If you didn't know that, it's not that I don't have hobbies. It's just right now in this season of life, I have to work really hard to be a decent husband. I just do. It doesn't come naturally to me. So I have to really work at it. I do this YouTube thing on top of a full-time job that requires extra hours. I don't miss anything as far as dad stuff. I was almost late getting on this because I had to run down and sign the boy up for basketball. So he's in flag football right now. Basketball starts as soon as that's over. So the biggest thing for me is I have to put effort into this life I have. So does that mean I get less time for hobbies? A little bit, yeah. Making YouTube videos is my biggest hobby along with traveling. So Who knows how long that would be? I've had other hobbies. I've wrestled. I've competed in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I've competed in mixed martial arts. Um, I've been a huge backpacker for a lot of years, so I still love to go out in the woods and just build a fire and make a cup of coffee. All those different things. I don't. I used to ride motorcycles a lot. I don't have a ton of time to do all those things right now, and I'm not mad about it at all. So traveling, biggest one. See here. Uh, I can't pronounce this. The Chutes Felix, origin of Snick Snacks. That here, if you have not heard me, I call snacks Snick Snacks, and I don't know what the origin is, but I grew up in what I like to call Appalachia Light. So I grew up in Southern Ohio, but in a town, so not really in the woods or anything like that. But the people of my town and the people on at least one side of my family have a very strong connection to Appalachia. And my dad always called it Snick Snacks. My dad always wanted to, let's just go home and eat some Snick Snacks and watch TV. So, or watch the Reds play. So I didn't really talk like that until I became a dad. So now I tell my boy, let's go get some Snick Snacks and watch the Buckeyes. So just something I've inherited, an old man saying, I guess. Are you going to change your current phone to iPhone 15 Pro? Yes, already did. My man, 911 Evox. I haven't seen him on here. He must be fighting crime and suppressing evil and saving the world from tyranny and winning a bodybuilding show and making $7 million in 2 seconds while driving a Lambo. But I haven't seen him. He asked, what's the best way he can earn points and or miles by paying his baby mama $2,800 a month in child support? He has another bun in the oven, and she'll be pumping out soon enough. She's going to want $5,600 a month. How can I maximize my listen? Here's the thing. Marry her. Just marry her. If you're going to keep, slamming babies into her, go ahead and put a ring on it. Make it legit, man. That's a lot of child support. Yeah, that's a lot of child support, man. If you're doing that, I hope you're joking, but if not, that's a lot of $5,600 a month is a lot of Snick Snacks. All right. That looks like we're done with all the questions and the community post. There was somebody did post a question on when I said I was going to go live. It's X1928. Are you interested in the new premium city card rolling out soon? Here's the thing. The new word on the street is those cards are not coming out. If they do come out, absolutely, I'm ready to take a look at them. If they're not, if they won't knock Aunt Connie's socks off, I probably won't apply for them because I actually am very satisfied with my City Premier and City Custom Cash. And that is it. We'll see what kind. We got an hour into this. You guys are doing really, we got 64 people in here. That's big time. Guys, if you like these lives, hit that like button. Emmanuel Rodriguez, what are your top destinations that you would go again? Well, we're going to Hawaii again, and that wasn't my choice, but the boy and the wife both wanted to go back to Hawaii, so we're going to go to Maui this time. I'm hoping that Maui triggers that magic in Hawaii for me. I liked Hawaii, but it didn't knock my socks off. Eric Fuentes. I currently have the Hilton Surpass Amex. Is upgrading to the Aspire worth the annual fee? The annual fee for the Aspire is always going to be worth it, but I would apply for the Aspire to get the bonus. And if you don't want the Surpass after that, downgrade it to the no annual fee card. That way you're not missing out on a bonus. I don't know. LOL says he has to be a troll. He's a strange bird, so I don't know. He could be. Sometimes he's trolling, and sometimes We don't know. Glenn Ardonia is in the house. This Glenn Ardonia in the chat right now just got back from Egypt. The dude doesn't stay home 3 or 4 days before he's globetrotting. He's amazing. He's a big leaguer. I think his main weapon is the Capital One Venture X. Oh, Glenn, I don't know if you know this or not, but I think I lost my passport, so I may not be meeting you in Prague. Young boy, is it worth getting an airline card, or should I just get the Aspire from Hilton? I'm more young boy. I do not recommend airline cards to anyone. I don't think they're worth it. Brian says, I know the trip down the Neuschwanstein from Frankfurt wasn't ideal, but did you enjoy any other parts of in northern Germany? Was great. Germany was good enough. We do have to go back. We're going to do it a little different, and we're going to stay longer. But I never felt more. I didn't feel like I was in a foreign country. I couldn't understand anyone, but like I said before, the part of the country I grew up in had a lot of German influence and a lot of German ancestry. So almost everything there was completely normal to me. Things like, throwing salt behind you when you eat, or all kinds of different things were just second nature to me. So I love Germany. We'll go back. We'll do it a little different, and I can't wait to tell you about it. Lou Family Journey. When you have 2 Aspire cards, do resort fees combine? Do you use both cards to pay at checkout? The times that has happened, I have told the guy, hey, put $250 on this one and put the rest on this one. It's never been a problem. Emmanuel is going to Japan in March. Good stuff. First time going on Singapore Airlines business class. Let me tell you, Emmanuel, it is an experience. It's really, really cool. Tell us about it when you get back. Mikey B says he totally had a similar experience going to Germany. Yeah, I mean, they have such a huge influence on this country, especially in the Midwest where I live, that it really did feel like a domestic trip. All right, guys, let me check something real quick. Okay. All right. So we have done all the questions. And like I told you guys, I will be traveling tomorrow. So it might not be, well, at least be till Monday till we get a new video out. Travis the Lionheart, best way to acquire American Airlines points. The best way, there's really only one. You have to combo the American Airlines points. Get a Barclays or a Citi American Airlines card. You have to use their Simply Miles program, and you have to use their shopping portal, and you can rack them up. Not the easiest points in the world to earn, because they don't have any transfer partners built. But I've yet to see anybody really break the bank with Hilton or with built points. They're just not earning hundreds of thousands of built points yet. Mike J. Cox. Luke, I have a lot of MR points and Hilton points. He wants to travel next year. He's never flown. Okay, he's lucky to have the Amex Platinum free through work. Where should he go domestically? I don't know. Mike, where are you from? Come in, boy. I would go to South Florida. I think it's great. Come here. Why? You want to do something?
Yeah, I want to read to you.
Come here. Charlie got a new book today, and he wants to read to me. So we're probably going to have to cut this off in about 5 minutes because he's got a new book about the Abrams tanks. So we got 5 minutes left. Let's hear your questions. Hear me? Go get a shower. You're late. From New York. Yeah, man. From New York, it's a really easy ride to South Florida, and South Florida is basically full of New Yorkers anyway. If you really want to be kind of adventurous, keep on flying south and go to Puerto Rico. Cesar Joel will meet you there. I love Puerto Rico. I love South Florida. If you're from and put it this way, man, no matter where you go, you're from New York. It's probably going to be better where you go. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I've been in New York a few times, and it's a place. Mohammed Ali just booked a 13,000 trip to La Roma, okay, in Dominican Republic, used as Hilton points. That's an amazing redemption, man. I've heard a lot of people going there. It's an all-inclusive. Awesome work, man. Awesome work. I don't know. LOL. City versus Chase. That's a listen. Chase is a better product. Let's not get it twisted, and let's not kind of. We're not doing hot takes or controversial statements. Chase is better than City. However, City is underrated, man. City has Turkish. City has Avianca. City has they still have Air France. They do have the choice hotels. If you can learn how to use those, you can double your points. But Chase is better. It is. It just is. More options, better options, way more bonuses. The bonuses are the biggest factor to me. City, you're not going to get a ton of bonuses. With Chase, you can just get them once a month, it seems like. As long as you can stay under 524, you can get hundreds of thousands of dollars in credit and tons of bonuses. I don't hate Chase. I bank with Chase. I do question some of the blind Chase loyalty, though. And I do kind of bring that up and knock on it sometimes. But Chase business cards, you could have a setup with just Chase business cards and do extremely well. Mikey B, do you think 40,000 miles is a good enough offer to upgrade to Delta Reserve, especially if the Delta backtracks their nerfs? Personal or business cards, because this is what I think is a better deal. Right now, the Delta Reserve bonus is 110,000 on the business version. Get the business version, Delta Reserve, and downgrade the. I'm assuming you have the platinum, but downgrade the other Delta to the Delta Blue with no annual fee. Don't give up one of those Delta bonuses when they're jacked up like that. They might be Sky Pesos, but 110,000 Sky Pesos can deliver some fun. Yeah, downgrade the personal platinum to the blue and apply for the Delta Reserve business. Because guess what? Nobody's applying for those cards right now. A lot of folks are mad at Delta if you haven't heard. Mufasa Raw. I like that name. What's the most points you would spend on a hotel in Chi-Town, Chicago? It seems to be high this time of year. Most points, like I said earlier, man, where I want to stay, I'll spend whatever they're asking. I don't hoard my points. I don't keep them back. I do look for a cent per point valuation, and if it's not high enough for me, I'll pay cash. But let's say there's a few hotels in Chicago everybody wants to stay at. I would stay at one of those, and I don't care what they want for it. Mohammed says his top 4 cards out of 15 are the CSR, the Aspire, the Platinum, and the Business Hilton. Those are 4 big league cards. I think you're going to do really well, especially hanging out down there in the Dominican Republic. That's a redemption I think I'm going to execute next year. I keep hearing about it, and it just looks too good to be true. And I've never been to the DR. We're going to Grand Cayman in April. So maybe after that, we'll go to the Dominican Republic. Thank you, Mohammed. Yeah, listen to Ryan. Have a good night. Hit that like button. If you're in here having a good time, real quick, slap that like button. I don't know if you guys have heard, but with smaller creators, YouTube has pretty much cut in half our AdSense income. And it's been like that since maybe the middle of August. And they had some type of software issue or some kind of program issue, and we kind of took the brunt of it. And what I used to make, I make less than half of that now. Not that I'm complaining, because I don't make a ton of money on AdSense anyway, but I just ask for the likes. Oh, Dominican Republic has a humpback whale tour. You can swim with the whales. Wow, that's when shower in sky. Can you do a live stream? I don't know what that means. Does that you mean the shower in like the Etihad, or the not Etihad, but the Emirates? Do a live stream from the shower in the Emirates? Yeah, okay. Yeah, if I fly that, which I almost had a chance to fly that, because there used to be a fifth freedom flight from JFK to Milan, Italy. They started using a different plane that doesn't have the shower. So I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to do that. Greg B says the best way to collect the AA points are sign up bonuses, and he's right. Absolutely. I don't know. LOL. Favorite airline? Man, I don't have a favorite domestic airline. The best routes for me are probably with American, but I can say American is my favorite airline, but I'm telling you, more than half the time I get on an American airline plane, it might be like a retired World War II fighter. Some of them are really old and they're not well taken care of. So, like I said, the hard product for me is always going to be Delta. Price is probably always going to be American, and the routes are going to be American or Southwest for me. But I don't really fly Southwest because I don't deserve to fly like that. All right, guys, I will answer one more question. So whoever shoots one down there, I will answer one more, and then I have to learn about A1 Abram tanks from the boy. He's a super reader, so we have to encourage that and have to really get in all that good stuff. Plus, tanks are cool. Come on, even for me, I was a Navy guy. One more. Don't be shy. Yeah, he is a smart kid. He's a good boy. All right. Have you stayed at the Waldorf Astoria? And I have not. The only thing I've done in Chicago is with the boot camp. I haven't stayed there since then. Keith asks, when charging without working on a sub, which card do you use? When charging, what do you mean by charging? Dizzy G, Abrams are made in Ohio. I did not know that. Keith asks, every day just spending. I went over my 5% cashback setup, so that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I don't plan on working on a sub for quite some time, so I use the category cards. And right now, my everything else non-category spend is probably going to be going on the Navy Federal flagship just for the 2% cashback, and I like to put a little bit of spend on that just for the relationship with Navy Federal. What's the best Hilton all-inclusive hotel for family? All-inclusive? That's I don't know. I've never been to a Hilton all-inclusive, but I do know they have one in Cancun, but the beach is not very nice, so I have not stayed there. Do you have any progress update on your cashback grind? It's going. It's going. I actually I opened an American Express high yield savings account to dump this cash back in so I could better track it and get a better idea of what it looks like over the 3-month time period. So it's going. Cashback is a slow game, especially if you're not working on bonuses, but it's going. I'll have an update in a month or so. JP Knowledge is in here just in time to see me leave. We've been talking about you, by the way. I don't know, LOL. Which card do you put most of my spend goes to groceries. So right now it's the AAA 5% cash back at grocery stores card. Travis the Lionheart, I appreciate you. Okay, guys, I'm going to get off here. It is story time about the M1 Abrams, and I appreciate everybody stopping by. Thank you for for the super chats and the thanks on here, guys. Super appreciate it. Glenn Ardonia is here, by the way. Send him a message. And stay tuned. Monday we'll have another video, and safe travels. Take it easy, guys.